What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW videos. In today's episode, we don't meet under the most fortunate circumstances. So if you don't know what's going on in Pokemon Go, we've had some bonuses put into place for COVID, and they've actually been put into place for over a year, which is pretty crazy to think. But on August 1st, 2021, New Zealand and the United States are officially going to get some of those features reverted back. Now, if you don't think that this is going to end up being a big deal, well, at least to some extent, this kind of gives some validation to this. But if I go ahead and check out the trending tab, you can see that for gaming trending, Niantic is trending here, and it is not for any positive reasons. And at the time of filming this, this is only after the changes have taken place in New Zealand. Once it gets around to the US and people start taking a look at it, they're going to be like, what the heck is going on in the game? So let's go ahead and check this out because it'll help us kind of walk through some of these topics. So the first thing is going to be the Pokestop reduction. So what I want to do is actually take just a look at this video so that you can see what's happening. So this player is not able to interact outside of the new radius because the radius got reduced for these Pokestop interactions. And if you're curious about the literal changes to it, it ended up going from 80 meters to be able to interact with the Pokestop down to 40 meters. So it's cut in half. And on paper, it may not sound like a big deal. So that's why I wanted to show what it looks like in game with these Pokestops not really being that far away, but not being able to interact with them. So at least from my perspective, them adding on the double distance, so what it's been over the past year in Pokemon Go, has made it so much easier to play Pokemon Go and to get out and actually walk around and stuff. And I want to at least talk a little bit or briefly about why. So I'll go and play on a college campus and I can just stay on the main walking path and just walk around the whole campus. And if there's anything to the outside of it, I can spin it. If there's anything to the inside of it, I can spin it. And it's almost like a perfect loop. Now what's going to end up happening is I'm going to be zigging and zagging and crossing roads and doing all sorts of things like that just to be able to spin a Pokestop. Come on, Niantic, what the heck are you doing here? And then, interestingly enough, they're not reducing the distance for gym interactions. Now, I actually find this funny because their logic behind it is going to make some sense, but I want to put it into perspective. So they're thinking that for the gym interactions, it needs to stay at a double distance because raiding is a social feature and it requires potentially more than one person, especially if you do a legendary raid. But spinning a Pokestop, walking around, doing all those things, you can easily do that by yourself. So yes, from the gym perspective, raiding, it is a social thing, so they want to keep the distance at the regular or the new regular rate, so twice as big. That way you can socially distance from each other safely. But the funny thing about that is we literally have remote raiding, which is the ultimate form of social distancing. Just think about that, Niantic. It is kind of ironic that Pokemon Go thinks that by leaving the distance to ×2 is going to somehow create more social distancing. But here is one problem in actual practice. What does raiding require when you're doing it in person? Communication. And what does Niantic not have? A communication channel. So yes, of course, you could be talking about it through a Facebook Messenger, Discord, something like that, which is something that we're doing outside of Pokemon Go since Pokemon Go doesn't have that. But what do you do when there are those random people who show up that aren't members of that Discord or the Facebook group or whatever going on? You approach them. You say, hey, we're about to go in. But that means that you're going to have to communicate with each other, and that could potentially mean getting closer because some people, for example, play in their car, they got their window up, and you're having to kind of approach people to just say, hey, we're going in, and there's all this communication going on. So of course, remote raiding seems like the best form of actual social distancing. So we can go ahead and take a look back here and just kind of take a look at some of these tweets. So if we take a look at the trending again, we're going to see Joe Merritt kind of calling something out. And I think it is worth mentioning because there are some points that can be made. If you don't know who Joe Merritt is, he is actually the creator of Cerebi.net, and it has a lot of Pokemon information, TCG, main series game, Pokemon Go, just kind of everything Pokemon. And they ended up tweeting this out. So it seems like Niantic didn't listen to the feedback and have reduced Pokestop's distance. So when he says feedback, if you're thinking about something like, okay, maybe a couple hundred people were upset about it, a couple thousand people were upset about it. You know what, Niantic? It's not a big deal to, cater to a small audience. But there were literally petitions that got over 200,000 signatures of players saying, please do not do this. And I've heard somewhere that there's around 600,000 active players per day. So to just put that into scope, that is a decent size of active players that are adamantly against this. So I find it very frustrating that there's just more to this, right? So I'm going back to the camera again. So we've got the situation where, yes, they're reducing Pokestop distance. Is that, you know, that big of a deal? Maybe not in the long term, but what is a big deal is the fact that a lot of players are against this and are voicing their opinion about it. And Niantic just says, ooh, shiny. And they end up tweeting this out and kind of drives home the point. So basically saying main series stays silent to feedback and then adjust the next gen, which makes a lot of sense because the main series, unlike Pokemon Go, comes out with a game and then it will be maybe a year before the next game ends up coming out. Pokemon Go is a single game, so the updates end up happening to it. So Pokemon Go is actually positioned to be able to make the updates better than the main series game. And then you've got like the Pokemon Masters listens to feedback and adjusts. Pokemon Unite asks for feedback and plans to adjust. And then finally Go, Pokemon Go, la 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 la, not listening. Does it feel like that is actually accurate in Pokemon Go? Like, I feel like this has been such a problem for such a long time that Niantic is just terrible about communication down to us. And then also communication going back to Niantic. There is not a feedback loop that is going on with this. It's just a straight push from Niantic. And to some extent, it feels like it is just completely off base of what the players want. That's at least my opinion on it. I'm sure many of you shared the same opinion, so definitely put it in that comment section below. But if we go ahead and scroll down a little bit, take a look at a couple other tweets. That tweet that I shared, or that we talked about earlier, taking a look at the Pokestop distance. So PvPoke ended up quoting them actually from a press release that they ended up sending out saying, we're committed to doing this in a staggered way when it makes sense for each place in the world to help people play safely. Meaning that these changes may end up happening to you if you're not within these two areas. If it ends up being deemed successful, then it could end up being rolled out worldwide. I mean, that's obviously the worst case scenario here, but for the fact that we've got petitions with 200,000+ people signing saying don't do this, and they just do it anyways, and you know, the whole la 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 not listening thing kind of going on. So unfortunately, if Niantic determines this to be successful, it could actually end up be going out to everyone, which is just so frustrating. And then to point it out saying, does this help people play safely? There is a difference though. We have to think about this, or at least clarify this. Playing safely can actually happen from two different perspectives. There's the playing safely from the COVID perspective and social distancing, and then there's also the playing safely from your surroundings perspective. Now, at least in my opinion, the COVID thing going on, a lot of people are taking it into their own hands to play safely, where they're going out on their own, they're using masks, they're doing all these things, which has nothing to do with Pokemon Go. Then on the flip side, I think that adding on that double distance makes it more safe, at least in my opinion, where you're not having to cross roads. So many people play at night, especially during summer, because it's so freaking hot during the day that people go out at, 8 o'clock at night, eventually gets dark at like 9 p.m. And if you're having to cross roads and, do all of these things, go into traffic, all that, no one wants to do that. That's not safe. So for them to say we're reducing these Pokestops to be safe, well, you're doing it at the cost of another safety. There's more than one safety aspect that has to be taken into consideration. But who knows? I mean, Niantic they're doing what they're doing. So, oh, that's great. Yeah. Kratos, nice one. I definitely like this one. Pokemon Go player base going this way. And then Niantic's like, nope, going this way. That's pretty funny. Looking at this trending page, I'm telling you, this is going to blow up. When it ends up getting instituted into the US, I promise you, there is going to be a much larger voice. And with Niantic trending, yes, it's not in like the main trending. It's just in like your localized trending. But if you're into Pokemon Go, you're going to be seeing this. We got Pokemon Master Holly. Perfect situation, actually, for people who haven't been playing Pokemon Go that much. If you see this like hashtag Niantic is trending on Twitter, what's up? And then it's just people just being like super mad about the changes being reduced and then just saying, oh, well, gonna go play Pokemon Unite then. So think about that. If you're one of those players who gets on Twitter, you follow a lot of Pokemon Go creators, you follow the Twitter account for Pokemon Go and stuff, and let's say you haven't been up to date on this. If you end up going and checking and you see that Pokemon Go is trending, you're like, oh, there must be an event going on. So a lot of people are going to be real excited about checking out the information. And then what's going to end up happening, they're going to go, oh man, that's bad. Huh. Well, I guess it's time to do something else then. And a lot of people are going to get some focus on this. So pretty crazy to kind of think about that. But the main point is that we're seeing just a lot of unanimous negativity here. If the game is bad, that is okay if Niantic is willing to fix things, take feedback, and try to improve it and listen to, I don't know, the people who play the game. But what's happening now is that feedback loop is broken. It's just a message coming straight down to us, and it feels like it's a disjointed message that doesn't even feel like it's coming from people who play the game. So ultimately, I don't know. I feel like it's a foreshadowing if Pokemon Go doesn't get, I'm not going to cuss, but if they don't get their stuff right, then I don't know. I mean, you let me know what you think about this. I mean, is this the final straw, or is this just another straw in the pile where it's finally just too much? I mean, I definitely want to know what you think about this in the comment section below. A lot of players are upset about it. Niantic doesn't seem to care. And that is ultimately the biggest problem, is related to the communication. And the reason why I didn't make a video about this a couple of days ago is because I wanted to just sit and wait and see if they actually went through with it. Because I was thinking in my mind, there's no way Niantic is going to go through with this. And yet here we are, August 1st. Sure enough, they went through with it. So I want to know what you think about this in the comment section below. If for some reason they end up making changes, like I've got a bad feeling they're going to, or a good feeling they're going to change it a day or two after it ends up being instituted. Once it rolls out to the US, a ton of people end up, voicing their opinion again on it. Maybe we end up seeing some changes, but I would definitely love to know what you think about this in the comment section below. And if things end up changing, then I'll just, remove this video. That would be a great day to be able to do that. But anyways, I want to say thank you so much. If you enjoyed talking about these type of topics and want to see more like that in the future, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that like button shiny to the blue version of it. And I will see you next time. But not a shout out to the members of YouTube and the supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much. We've got an exclusive Discord server where you can communicate for raids, talk about Pokemon Go. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, definitely make sure to check out the YouTube membership or the link to Patreon in the description below. And I will see you next time.